Alright, round two. It's time for an update video on what's been going on in the Xenopocalypse mod. I'm going to call it the Xenopocalypse mod, even though it's spelled differently. It just makes sense to my brain. So, what has happened in the Xenopocalypse mod? Let's find out. Some of the sectors have been liberated from the Xenopocalypse. The Sagaris Pioneers built a wharf. I restarted again. I know, yeah, it's a running gag. That's why it's taking so long to produce videos. But the stations that I initially built and people who have asked for the blueprints for were inadequate, to say the least. And these stations that I have replaced them with are also kind of inadequate, which is impressive and terrifying. So let's go over the station itself, or at least one of the stations. The large, extra large fab, which cannot keep up with the ship requests, and I'll go over that in a second. Uh, I upgraded to the other energy cell maker that produces like 500,000 plus energy cells. Like only one of them needed to make all the energy cell needs for everything. It's ridiculous. I have 43 whole part uh, production, and then everything else to support that. Let's see here, 20 refined metals. When everything turns on all at once, I believe I will drain. I think something will run out and I'll have to build more. But right now, if it's only just whole parts that we're waiting on, more than enough production to handle it. I'm not sure if this is a perfectly balanced station. I'm gonna have to go back into the I'm gonna have to go back into the what do you call it? The station design game mode and build the station not from scratch, but like upscale the station past this even to if I want to restart again, which I really don't. Yeah, I'll have to upscale it past this to keep up with ship production. And it's even worse on the small medium ship fab because that takes engine parts, where this one does not need anywhere near the amount of engine parts. I still have a ton of engine parts here. Am I allowing that to be traded? Yes, okay. So anyway, I'm stockpiling up whole parts and engine parts right now because I wanted to build a couple of ships. And I think that's over with now, so I can re-enable that to sell ships right now. Oh yeah, and the Yaki were causing a problem, so I disallowed them to buy ships from the small medium fab, I want to say. Yeah. And we can actually look at the logistic problem here in the small medium fab. And then we'll get on to the more interesting stuff. So it's always a juggle between engine parts and whole parts, which is needed more. And right now it's whole parts. But like once I get enough whole parts, it's the engine parts that are the problem. So it's just a never-ending cycle in between those two until I get like 60 to like 100 plus of either one of those. And then I doubt that'll even keep up. But I'm gonna have to go do that in like I said, the station design manager because building that manually is a large pain. This is the station so far. I have decided to go with uh, 3 dock E-piers on each side, just one of each. And then in the corners are, well, here's the small medium fabrication bay. The boron fabs for the large, extra large, small, medium can build every type of ship. So that was a nice little discovery. Um, it really cuts down on all the others. I don't need any other type, just the boron ones. I put luxury docks in the corners and E-piers on the sides. And hilariously enough, the small medium ships go and ram into the center of the station first and then decide to go dock. So that's not um, that's not ideal. behavior. Also, there's another weird thing going on. The station cube, you can see in yellow outlines, the station plot. When these are pre-placed stations, they're off-centered. So I can't actually build on this right-hand side of the station. That's just a little weird factoid. And it gets even weirder when I try to expand the station plot around the station. It's weird. Anyway, only one energy cell production maker. It produces 6 million, I think, per hour, which is more than enough to run a ridiculous, like even like double or triple this size of station, it'll still be fine. So there's that. There's enough food there's enough food rations and medical supplies to sustain a huge workforce. Yeah, so there's that. And even with all of that, it is still not enough to keep up with ship demand. Now then, let's talk about where the ship demand is going and why. Let's see if they. Yeah. Okay, so a lot of the ship demand is the ZYA, and that's not surprising because there's a system that they are forced to have a claim on, and that's due to a story state. And the ZYA have been the only faction to push out. So this will be useful for the mod author. So if you're watching this mod author of the Xenopocalypse and you're wondering why none of the base factions are pushing out, none of the other factions have a claim. And that's really it. The Scarce Pioneers, I believe, have a claim because they have, or at least they built a wharf so far. They haven't really done much with it, and they're not as expansionary as the Terrans. The Terrans will any open spot that there's is touching any sector that is touching one of their sectors that's available for expansion, they just move right into. So the Terrans don't have a problem. It's all the other factions that do. The Antigon, the Argon, the Paranid, and the Teladi are all having problems. But I think I can, due to some story states, we'll get into that in a second, and it's useful for the mod author too. But let me explain what's going on here. So the Alliance of the Word is building, or trying to build a shipyard out over here, and I'm trying to build one of those mega stations from scratch to build everything. And as you can see on the resource demand, it's gonna take a while. It's already been a while, and it's gonna take a while more. I built my own build ship with all of the construction drones I could muster. It only uses 30 at a time, but I think the having extra overhead adds to the build speed. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Correct me in the comments if it's not. I just want max build speed when that right now it's just that one super module that's being built right now. It's most of the material requirements. So once that gets built, everything else would just get snapped out really quickly, as long as the trade ships are available. I have, as part of the game start, I've given myself every blueprint in the game, and that's to make it so that all factions can buy their ships from my wharfs and shipyards. Now then, the reason the ZYA are going crazy and buying every ship they can is because of this sector, and it's this station, the Hall of Judgment. Due to the story states that I placed on the game, and this might be just true normally because I'm pretty sure this station just exists as part of the DLC. But I'll have to test that and try it out. That'll take another restart, and I don't want to do that. So due to this station, the Hall of Judgment, and story-related things, they have a claim to this sector. And they normally police this sector anyway in just the base game because of story reasons that you find out throughout the game. And they are trying to push out and expand into available sectors from here. So just because they have a claim, they're just going hog wild, which is great. That's what I want to see a faction do, is expand into the spaces that they were meant for, and then kick out the Xenon. Now then, there is another problem with that, and that is the Xenon stations have way too many hit points. And sometimes they bug out and become invulnerable. And I'm not sure what's causing that. But these ships are equipped with 3 Paranid main batteries, thanks to mods. And the station is taking 0 damage. So that's cool. And sometimes it happens when I'm in sector, sometimes it happens when I'm out of sector. I don't know what is the problem, but for some reason these stations are becoming invulnerable, and then the ZYA in particular are having problems sending their fleets in and then trying to get those into the claimed sectors that they have. They've managed to slip by a whole bunch of ships, and what's particularly interesting is they actually built a mod ship. And this mod ship is ridiculous. They built auxiliary ships. They actually put together a rattlesnake. Like they're impressive once they've managed to build up enough ships out of the shipyard. Once I increased what the shipyard could produce, and they actually have a really impressive fleet. And they're trying to push into Xenon-controlled space, so that's really really cool. It's good to see. The Xenon only have a few systems where they actually have a shipyard and a wharf, and that's base game, so they don't have any additional. I thought they would. What I thought this mod would do is give the Xenon extra shipyards and wharfs, and then set some kind of like overwhelming attack pattern to like come in through Getsu Fun, because this is the only entrance into Xenon space. So I thought they were gonna overwhelmingly push in from Savage Spur 1, because there is no way to go and directly attack. It's a one-way trip, because you have to go around the long way. So I thought they were going to push in heavily from that side and from Atlia's Misfortune, because that's where the shipyard and the wharf were. I went in and destroyed the shipyard to see if they would rebuild it somewhere, and I think they do rebuild that eventually. So we'll see where once they have free reign to put that wherever they want, they should place it somewhere and continue producing ships. They've got all the sectors to choose from. And so they have a wharf and a shipyard out in Emperor's Pride, which mostly that corner of the universe is kind of like on its own, and you have to know about it in order to really understand that it's actually a thing. So there's that. It's all just regular base game stuff, and they don't send overwhelming amounts of fleets. They don't. I thought we were going to be bombarded by K's and I's and like have a real fight on our hands, and that's why I did this. It turns out that that's not the case. So being overwhelmed at the start is not really an issue. And what's even funnier, and this is important for the mod author, what's even funnier is the story states, all the quests that you need to do are totally fine. They're completely playable. The Earl King is there, and the Earl King can get blown up, and then Boso Taz says he can recover the power core. When you fly through into Aurora's Dream, the ships spawn in to do all the voice line stuff, and then when you come into the Horde, the ships spawn in and do all their voice line stuff. Same for the Everest station, I'd imagine, but I haven't tested that one yet, but every story state I've tried so far is just available and ready to go. The Empyrean Curse, available and ready to go. And what's really funny about these story states and the quests is they spawn in what they need dynamically. So if you need to land on a station to find a black market for the Empyrean Curse, the station spawns in and gets made on the fly if it doesn't already exist where it wants it to. The black market gets spawned in on that station, um, and so on and so forth. So that's why the story states are pretty bulletproof no matter what you do with mods. You should always be able to play through all of the story stuff, which is going to be really interesting when I do the Boron. With it, well, I say it's going to be really interesting because then the Boron are going to go from really peaceful, peace-loving people to even more warlike than the split, because the story state should give them claim to some of their systems. We'll find out if they do or not. But once they have a claim, they're going to be mass ordering ships, and my my shipyard and small medium fab can't even keep up with the ZYA. So I'm gonna have to go back into the station designer and really overbuild these stations because it's still not enough to keep up with their insane ship demand. So that's a fun thing to look forward to. Um, Other than that, I do need help with something. I need the community help or a mod author's help. Let's say it like that. So I installed an old mod, and with old mods, some of them break, right? And so using the fix from the Seder mod, somebody in the comments produced a file that is just the updated tags, and I went over this. It just adds one word or rearranges the words in the tagline of the file. It's like 18 lines or something like that. Very simple, adds one word, and then that ship is updated with the right tags, which means you can put equipment on it again, and then it's fly around, and then it's able to be flown around. Now then, the problem with that mod, and it's still a problem, is the nav mesh did not get updated, which means you can't walk around on the ships. You're stuck in the transport room if you try to set foot on that ship, which is a little disappointing because the Satyrs are kind of a really fun ship to mess around with, and it's really cheap. Now then, where is it? This mod. This mod, real warships, and I do have that combined with more turrets for capital ships, and I'll go over that right now. I just wanted to mention those are two separate mods, and the real battleships adds ships additionally. They don't overwrite or overlap the same thing, so it's okay to have both of them at the same time. Now then, let's take a look at a ship that I thought was just normal. So I thought this was normal, and the other mod didn't touch it. They add more turrets to the vanilla ships. This is not normal. I think you get 2 medium groups for turrets in vanilla. It's like a depressing amount of medium-sized turrets on this ship. But with that more turrets for vanilla ships, it can actually defend itself from medium fighters. All large ships can, which is really impressive. And the same is true for the Xenon because I added the equivalent mod to the Xenon. So small medium ships are more of a joke in this setup. Well, they're not really a joke because the medium turrets, all medium turrets, even the Earl King turrets, are kind of hilariously bad at dealing with medium small fighter swarms. They're just better now. And actually, the best turrets to deal with a swarm of small medium ships are actually the beams, especially when you have a massive amount of medium turrets. So beams are incredibly, once you stack enough of them, beams are just murder on small and medium ships. But if you're playing the vanilla game, beams kind of suck, and you do need the Argon Flak or the Arrow King turrets. Well, actually, the Argon Flak is kind of the only way to go in vanilla, and even then, it's not that great. You need like what is it? The Osaka. The Osaka, I believe, is the best ship vanilla wise for dealing with fighter screens. And even this ship got a touch up in this mod, or with that mod, and has additional turrets. So that was kind of shocking to realize that how many ships that mod affects and just how normal and natural that seemed to me until I uninstalled it and realized there are very few turrets on ships. But the disappointing part with all large and especially extra large is the lack of large turret slots. So that's where the real battleship mod came in. And you'll notice that this ship has a lot of large turrets, up to 10. So that's ridiculous, and I like that. And destroyers actually can destroy things. And even with the overwhelming amount of firepower that this ship has through its turrets, it still takes forever to chew through a Xenon station when they're not invulnerable. So that's depressing, even with the Earl King turrets. And if you don't know how powerful Earl King turrets are, they're as strong as the Xenon turrets. Let's see if I can find the Xenon turrets in here. I can't remember where the Xenon turrets are. Or maybe I have to scan the Xenon ships probably. That's okay, we don't need to. The Xenon turrets are equivalent to the Earl King turrets. It's large turrets, I mean. And then the Earl King medium turrets are its own thing, because I believe the Xenon use beams. Anyway, the part I need help with, and I meant to look that up, is I went through with the Real Warships mod. If you download the Real Warships mod and do not make any changes to it, what's going to happen with the 3 large ships that it adds is the tags aren't going to be updated for the engines. So you're not going to be able to select an engine, or actually, I think the main weapons work. You're not going to be able to put any turrets on because the turrets are wrong, and you won't be able to put any shields because there's no tags. So what I did, using the Seder mod as a base idea of how to update the text file, is I just went in to the tags section, rearranged the words to where they're recognized by the game, and then added the missing words. And you'll notice that all of these are missile. I think at least 1 or 2 of these are meant to be missiles, so it needed that, but I wasn't sure which one. So I just added the missile tag to everything, and all the turrets show up. So that's cool, except for the Paranid and the Talati ships, the large ships, have this weird problem, and I don't know how to fix it. And that is... oh dear. Yep, you can see the problem, but it doesn't make sense right here. I should have clicked on something else. Okay, so I hope you saw that, and I had to push the escape key to get control back of this menu and click on anything. So now I can choose the equipment on this ship. But watch what happens when I try to click on turrets. Now I can't click on anything, and the turret menu didn't pop up. So that's odd, but if I hit escape, I get control back. So it's registered something is going on. Now then, the even weirder part is if I do a high preset, a medium preset, or a low preset, it slaps the turrets on in the right spot. So the tags are correctly updated. It's just a menu that's not responding. And I don't know how to fix that. But yeah, this ship is fully viable, and beams are actually incredible with this many stacked up. So I suppose it's fine. And then I believe even the nav mesh on the Talati ships are viable. You can actually walk around and personally pilot these ships because I did build them. And I'm having the same problem with the Pyramid ships. Again, I personally went through and updated these tags for myself so that the other menus populate, but the turret menu doesn't show up. But if I do a high preset, again, turrets are fine. So that's awkward. I don't know how to fix this. This is what I'm asking help for. I don't know how to fix this menu. And then, to make things even weirder, they've added extra large ships. The Argon ships work. I forgot to show that off. It's just the Paranid and the Talati that don't. That menu, I mean. So I can go through and I can select the turrets on the Argon. Actually, there is one weirdity. There's one weird weirdity. There's one weird part on this ship, and that is in the engine section is where the large turret number 1 is. And it actually is fully functional. You just scroll down and add the turret there. And the shield. And the scroll bar works. So like, this is weird. And that's just this ship. I don't know why it's like that, but it works. So whatever. It's strange. But yeah, I can fully kit out this ship with all the turrets. And I'm gonna do it the lazy way, which is do high preset so it populates all the turrets, and then select the turret type I want. So there's that. And then, just I could set up the ship the way I want it. And this ship has an overwhelming amount of large turrets, I want to say, but not as much medium turrets. It's still enough, but it's interesting that they didn't go ham on the medium turrets too. And I keep exiting out of this menu completely. Let's see here, is this the right one? Now then, the Talati ship here, I can select the turret menu. So I don't know what's going on with just the large Paranid and the large Talati equivalent, the heavy ship. I don't know what's going on with the turret menu, and I don't know how to fix it. So I need help with that. It's probably just a simple text file edit somewhere. I just don't know what to do. Because all I did was update the tags and everything works. And actually, the Talati warship, the extra large warship, is extremely scary because it's all forward focused firepower. So, and what's even better about this ship is the nav mesh is correct or correct enough, so you can personally pilot this ship and just point the front of the ship at a station, and this ship actually does delete stations with Earl King turrets on it. And this is the only, well, it's not the only ship. The other ships have enough large turrets to actually put out enough fire to actually satisfyingly destroy the Xenon stations quickly enough when they're not invulnerable, of course. And then I want to say that the Paranid extra large ship is fine too, after updating the tags, of course. So that's strange. It's just the larges that are being a problem, and I don't know what to do about that. But yeah, these ships are insane, and are kind of the actual warships I wanted to see in-game, base game. like actual warships that can actually do some warring instead of the pathetic excuses that we have in vanilla. And I believe I actually have one of these like super crazy warships out because I did build a couple, and I had all three of them actually, but I sent the the Talati one. I sent that one after an unkillable station, and it got destroyed because the pilot decided to fly too close instead of just parking at max range and keeping the front of the ship pointed at the station. So the AI is still horrendously bad at piloting the ships. So that hasn't changed, hooray. But yeah, I have some of these ships flying around. These are basically just anti-fighter swarm ships because they're all beams. Because I can't change the turrets to the loadout I want. But beams are actually incredibly good, so no worries there. I think that's it. Yeah, so that's the update. Um, the quests are so shockingly just perfectly fine to play no matter what happens. Like, delete all the stations in the game and the quests are still playable because they spawn in what they need. Um, the patriarchy has a claim, so they're actually, they're actually a fully represented faction, and they're actually trying to take over systems, and they're actively fighting the Xenon, which is great. It's just too bad that the rattlesnake is the worst. It's the worst large destroyer in the game for the AI. Not for the player, but for the AI, the worst ship in the game. And remember, I have access to all the blueprints, and that means that the AI can buy any variation uh, of equipment on their ships. They could buy the Earl King turret if they were coded to. They could buy Argon variant turrets. They could buy any of the shields, Terran stuff. For some reason, they only want to buy split stuff, which is fine. But it'd be cool if they had more freedom of choice of what to put on their ships. So there's a cool mod idea, is just a simple mod to allow the AI factions to actually look at the blueprints they have available to them and then use whatever they feel like they want to use. And then as an additional side note, they did build a mod ship. So there's some food for thought too. So I don't believe this mod ship says anywhere that the AI factions will build and use it. I'll have to go read the mod description again, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't explicitly state that. So I'm really interested. I might just go out and get the sell stations to AI factions mod, and then I will put an administration center and maybe like a defense platform or two, like one administration center loaded out with turrets, and then like two defense platforms, and then just plop those around for the AI factions and see if they actually start behaving like they should, or behaving like I expect them to, where they go out and reclaim the sectors that were originally theirs and start pushing out the Xenon. That's what I want to see happen, and I want to see the Xenon threat actually be threatening. I want them to come into stations and actually, or come into sectors and actually be a huge threat and start trying to wipe out everyone else. And I think that was the intent of the mod, but right now it's really lackluster and kind of boring. And this game, let's go over how long this game's been going. I've been in SETA for the whole time, basically the whole time of this. Well, maybe not the whole time. I've been goofing off and like trying things, and then blowing up some stations to let the ZYA go to their sector, because they were getting hung up on every single Xenon station all the way out to that sector. So that was cool. Yeah, I think that'll do it for the update video. This mod is interesting, and even more interesting is that the quests are totally fine to just do start to finish. So I'll make another video when I actually start progressing through the quests. I want to make sure that the universe is in a state where I can uh, fully support a faction that springs up, and that's why I'm building this sector. And I should probably go over that as well for trade ships. That's the whole reason I'm going over this, or I'm building this station, because the player factions trade ships, not the AIs, just the player, are limited to going up to 5 sectors for trades if you have a manager that has their management skill up high enough, which mine do, which means any trade ship that is assigned to this manager will use the manager skill in terms of trading. And down here at the bottom, they will go up to 5 gates away, or 5 sectors away to buy and 5 sectors to sell. Now, what that means is a sector is the large honeycomb, the full honeycomb. That is one sector, and you start counting the sectors out of the sector you're starting from. So the void would be 1, second contact flashpoint would be 2, Argon Prime 3. Hoktiva's choice is not just this small sector, but it's also this sector over here. So the whole outside honeycomb is the sector. So that would be 3. And then Farnham's Legend, all 3 of these sectors in here count as 1. So let's see here. I think I counted wrong. So the Void's 1, second contact flashpoint's 2, Argon Prime's 3, Hoktiva's choice is 4, Farnham's Legend is 5. So that's why my trade ships can make it all the way out here. If it was one more sector away, like in Silent Witness, that would be 6, and none of my trade ships would go trade over there. So this is why I'm building this station, because it's within 5 jumps to the ZOIA factions sectors. And that's another reason why my stations aren't supplying the hull parts, because I'm the only faction that has hull parts and Claytronics. That's why none of these stations are getting built, because none of my trade ships can trade this far. So only their trade ships can make it over to my sector to buy hull parts and Claytronics, because the AI factions can trade at an unlimited range. They're not limited to the 5 sector rule. That's just a player restriction. And I think that's a really dumb restriction. If the AI factions aren't restricted, why is the player restricted? Like, why? Why do that? Anyway, there's my thoughts on that. And there is a mod that I do have downloaded, but I haven't installed it, that increases the player's trade range. And I might have to enable that mod. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, yeah, that'll do it for the update video. Some interesting things, some uninteresting things. And yeah, leave a like if you like the video, and leave a comment. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.